All right. Let's get started. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Crypto Future Network event today. I know that many of you have traveled a long distance to be here with us today. We have people from Russia, from China, Hong Kong, South Korea, United States. And so the organizers and I want to really thank you for being here and participating and contributing to this event. So thank you. Today, we're going to have a fun and relaxing afternoon with great networking, food, and some great companies with some disruptive technologies. Everyone, hi. My name is Christian Ferry, and I'm going to be your host for today. Let's see if we are able to turn this light. We are. All right. So I'm going to be your host. I live on Delta, seat 2A, but I have a house in San Francisco. And when the organizers reached out, Elena and Anna, to ask me to host this event, I just couldn't pass on it. I just love Swiss chocolate, so I couldn't pass on it. It's too much. It's just gotta fly to Switzerland. I've heard about Bitcoin around 2009, but it wasn't until I sold my second company that I realized the potential of this technology. My head almost exploded. I was fascinated by it. And since then, I had the opportunity to experience the ups and downs, the bubbles and the bursts of this industry. I had the opportunity to experience some amazing growth in the Bitcoin network that almost tripled. I had the opportunity to see how ICOs actually passed traditional VC funding. I had the opportunity to see how many investments were thrown into blockchain-related initiatives, and how much money corporations and banks have and will invest in this space. I assisted to the growth and the craziness of ICOs, starting from 2015. We only had one major ICO back then, right? Ethereum raised about 19 million. Total raise was about 37 million or so, up until this year. We had dozens and dozens and dozens of ICOs with a total fundraise of more than $6 billion. Crazy, huh? Oftentimes, I get asked very similar questions. Either it's conferences, interviews, on TVs, and one of the questions is, what the future holds. And I'll start by saying that I do not have a crystal ball. I would be lying. I would say that. But what I know is that if the past is any prediction of the future, with any other technologies, internet, TV, cell phones, in order for us to reach mass adoption, three things have to happen in blockchain. In order for us to understand the first thing, we need to remember Maslow hierarchy of needs. Who knows what Maslow hierarchy of needs is? There you go. So, the first need, before anything else, is safety and security. Why? Because if you know that you're going to be alive tomorrow, you're not going to get hurt, you have time to do everything else. Shelter, food, relationship, self-actualization. So in order for blockchain to really get noticed and start getting the adoption, from everyone. The system has to be secure. And I'm not talking about a wallet, an exchange. I'm talking about the entire ecosystem, almost like a universal security protocol that underlines basically exchanges, wallets, smart contracts, everything. Just like the SSL protocol for the internet. Once we have securities, people will start playing with it. They're going to put their money in. My mom will start putting her money in. Your parents, your children. Once that happens, people want to spend it. They want to go out and buy groceries. They want to go out and buy coffee, their Frappuccino from Starbucks. But for that to happen, the Frappuccino cannot cost $5 today and $50 tomorrow, right? Makes sense. So that's why stability is really important. Once we have security and we have stability, now we get real traction in the mass adoption of this great technology. And that's when we need scalability. Only then will it make sense to talk about sharding. Only then will it make sense to talk about plasma and scalability. We go from 0.5% of the people in the world using blockchain to maybe 10, 20, 30%. So this is what I call the 3S model. A similar question that I get asked often is, what is the killer dApp? And again, I don't know who's going to win, but I know there's going to be two areas that are going to be extremely important for blockchain. One is identity. Why? Because in order for blockchain to really be adopted, we all know that we need government backing. Without government backing, we're never going to go anywhere. And what governments want? Transparency. They just want to connect that Bitcoin wallet to an identity. That's why. There are a lot of players out there that are doing a phenomenal job. One of the ones that I'm most excited about is Zhurich. Why? Because it's the only company out there that is creating an identity management system. They're going to be live next year with something called identity.com, where people and users will be able to manage their identity. And it's open source. The second thing is enterprise tokenization. Why? Because most of the conversations around blockchain with enterprises today are happening with CTOs and VP of engineering. And it's a technology conversation. Nobody's talking to CEOs. Nobody's going to CEOs with the business benefit of blockchain tokenization. Nobody's talking to a CEO and saying, how would you like to increase your customer lifetime value by 60%? How would you like to reduce your employee churn by 40%? How would you like to extract cash flow from your dormant assets, patents, goodwill, real estate, account receivable? How would you like to get free cash flow, free working capital for production starts? iPhone 11 comes out, screw the bank, crowdsource that. How do you want to save 90% of your cost and time going public? Instead of going through the banks, just do an STO, right? So nobody's talking to them about these things. That's why I think this is going to be a major era disruption. Enterprise market, it's about 3/4 of the world GDP. It's trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. Matter of fact, one of my companies is solely working on this matter right now. So, if it's something that interests you, just introduce yourself. Blockchain is a revolution, and as every revolution, it means change, and change is hard. What we need to do when change is hard? Trying to keep an open mind. So my ask to you today is just, as we listen to these great companies, try to keep an open mind. That's how a revolution happens. Mark, welcome. Today's schedule, up until 1:30 today, followed by the first pitch session, 4 companies, 15 minutes each, 3 minutes for Q&A, followed by a coffee break, followed by the second session pitches, 6 companies, 15 minutes each, 3 minutes for Q&A, same. And we'll end with, we'll have a reception downstairs from 6 to 8, followed by a dinner from 8 to 10. So if it's interesting in the dinner, please let us know. I just want to take the time to thank Elena and Anna here, the organizers, because I think they did a fabulous job putting this event together. Elena has a long history in banking, especially in wealth management. And Anna, she's experienced in diplomatic affairs, working directly with presidents and senators of many countries around the world. And fun fact, this event should have not happened. You know why? They started a month and a half ago. We're going to put together this great event. Companies and investors. Everybody discouraged them. These 2 girls, they said, no, don't do it. Because the ICO market is dead. Nobody will show up. Nobody will invest. Nobody will do anything. They persevered. They endured the process. And here we are. We have a room that is almost full of people. People flying in from everywhere around the world. And this is thanks to Ellen and Anna. So join me to a big round of applause for them. Thank you. All right. So up next, we're going to have, let me make sure that I don't butcher the name. We're going to have Joanne Bigham. She's the International Managing Director of the Blockchain Research Institute out of Zurich. And she's going to talk about some of the research she's done in the space in blockchain and some of the future applications of blockchain itself. So without further ado, let me welcome Joanne Bigham. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello. Hi. A little louder, maybe, yeah. Hi, I'm Joan Bigham. Good job on the name. And I know we said keynotes, but I think given the time, we'll call this a footnote. We'll try to keep it moving as quickly as we can. I'm from the Blockchain Research Institute. Has anyone ever heard of us? Perfect. Yay. Have you heard of Don Tapscott or Alex Tapscott? Okay, great. They're the founders. The Institute is located in Toronto, Canada. I'm the founding managing director. We've been in business building this organization since 2017. And we're the largest independent think tank looking exclusively at blockchain strategies, implementation challenges, and opportunities. And if you haven't heard of us today, you have. So there are some slides here. And then we have technical problems. Okay. Let me just jump in right away and say that we believe, along with you, that blockchain will be the infrastructure for the convergence of all of the new technologies, whether it's artificial intelligence, 3D printing, whether it's manufacturing innovation, payments, the new technologies that are enabling the transformation of industry and enterprise, and I'll talk to you more about enterprise in a minute. We believe it's blockchain, and we think that blockchain is at the core of this, and that it's essential for all these technologies to succeed. So we've dedicated ourselves to studying the industry opportunities for blockchain, and our approach has been looking at vertical markets. We've looked at 10 industry vertical markets, and many of you today are going to be talking about real estate, healthcare, banking. We're looking at manufacturing, resources, transportation, education, and we're doing research projects in each of these areas. So what do I mean by a research project? We are a syndicated research think tank, so we're funded by corporations and governments to research blockchain. Okay. Do you want to, Anna, punch ahead a few? Oh, I've got it. Okay, well, this will help. I think we covered that. I covered most of this. And we are producing these research projects with the help of 40 plus international faculty, and many of them are people that you've heard of. People ask us, how do you do this research? We find the expert that we can find in the world to do the work, and they work with us to produce thought leadership. So you know Oliver Bussman, you know Michael Casey, you know Tina Warburg, you know Nick Szabo. All of them have written research for us, and that's what we do, is we look for the top people to produce the research. And I mentioned our sponsorship is corporations and governments. And we were talking earlier about the challenges of blockchain, and these are some of the things that we're looking at. So scalability, interoperability, reputation, education. Education is really big. I want to pause there because you're here today not only to present and invest, but to learn. And learning is one of the biggest challenges that we have with blockchain. CEOs need to learn about it. People at all levels need to learn. Your investors are learning beyond their own industries. You startup people, you're all working with the industry that you know best, but you need to look at other industries to get inspiration. So learning and sharing are really essential. And that's one of the roles that we play. You know, my name tag is not, I'm not an investor or a startup. I'm an advisor, and I'm actually more like a resource than any of those. So these are the industries that we've looked at. We are in the process of looking at. About half of our research is complete. We have outstanding case studies and examples and interviews and white papers in each of these areas, and we're adding new ones. I know you're talking today about real estate. You're looking at sports. We hadn't thought of that. We'll have to add that to our list. But these are areas of industry that need to be explored because the enterprises that run these industries need to understand blockchain. And I think the enterprise topic is a very key one. That's our focus. And within the enterprise, we're also looking at the C-level people who need to transform their thinking, people who are doing the job they've done for 20 years. The chief legal officer has never seen a smart contract. The head of HRO has never imagined that he could have identity and he could have resumes that were actually true. So there are lots of opportunities for innovation, and we're looking at those level by level. I just came from the Blockchain Live event in London. Anybody here at that event? Fantastic opportunity. We ran the C-stage, the C-suite stage there. We ran the content for the C-suite, talking about what's going to happen with these individuals and what their functions. And here's just a quick snapshot. We've got 80 projects underway. This is a snapshot of some that are in the financial services space, because I think that's one that interests many of you. But you can see the variety of topics that we look at. And I don't want to take too much longer, but I want you to understand that this is a resource. This is an opportunity for you to learn and for you to share information. And we believe in sharing also. So many of these projects that have been completed for more than 6 months go into Creative Commons. And you can download them from our website in PDFs. So this is not a sales pitch. This is letting you know of a resource that all of you can access. And you see that we're ranging everywhere from gold-backed currencies to transfer payments to clearing and settlements. There's so many details, so many levels just in financial services. I'll skip the sales pitch. Access. This is really important. My doctorate is in adult learning. I believe that learning and sharing are going to be the key to the success of this industry. And this is one of the ways that we go about that. We take our big fat 30-page PDF research projects and we convert them into infographics and to short videos. So CEOs can learn. This is important because research that's dense often gets neglected. People pay enormous amounts of money for it and they put it on the shelf. So we want it to get used. We have member events. We are a membership organization. We're sponsored by corporations and also some startups. Also peer-to-peer learning. I want to just emphasize for this audience, you're here in a peer-to-peer learning situation. This is ideal. This is the best way for people to learn about any new technology, and especially about blockchain. But being together with one another is better than reading a PDF file, I can tell you that. We've done roundtables on identity, on regulation. We have member summits, and in every case, that is the richest experience for people that participate with us. You recognize some of our research leaders. and you'll recognize some of our members. This is our membership list, and I just want to part with you with this message. We want you to participate with us, whether it's by accessing the research that's publicly available, encouraging large enterprises to join in the sponsorship of our operation, which funds our research. We're a cost recovery operation. We put the investment into the research, and the research comes back to the ecosystem, and you're it. So we hope you'll access it. We also have a few members who are pioneers, and we're looking for outstanding pioneers to help join us as part of our community. But overall, this is a community of leaders. We talked about the enterprise, and I think it was mentioned earlier that the enterprise needs education. Many of the decision makers from these companies were the CEO. So don't be mistaken. There's not dead out there. There's a lot of activity, a lot of leadership. You've heard Fred Smith was at Convergence talking about how blockchain was going to completely reinvent his company. And he didn't mean a new business model. He meant a complete reinvention of his company. And he works in an affiliation with other people in his industry. And I want to leave you with this thought also. Blockchain, which Dale Christie, who's our head of strategy friend from FedEx, says, is a team sport. You can't do it by yourself. And within industries, you can't even do it within the enterprise. You have to do it within the ecosystem of the industry. And many new affiliations are forming. You may have heard of BITA in North America, which is the transportation industry. There's a new one emerging in airlines. We have them happening in European telcos. So that coming together within the industry and forming affiliations is how the enterprise adoption is going to move forward. So thanks for listening. If you'd like to have some free research copies, just drop me a card or go to our website, which is blockchainresearchinstitute.com. And I wish all of you good luck with your pitches today. And I hope lots of investment flows and we move the digital world forward. Thanks.
Thank you, Jan. All right, fantastic. All right, so we'll start with the first pitch session. And just kind of roll the house. All right, so you're going to see there's some piece of paper on your seat. And that is going to be a piece of paper that you can use to say whether you're interested or not in the company that has pitched. So for example, you see CDRX at the top, you see a yes or no next to it, and then all you have to do is just kind of cross that cell, whether you're interested or not in the project, and then hopefully give the document here, this desk, so we can follow up properly with you, okay? All right.
If and we've already had one of them sign up. If an issuer holds at least 10 million tokens, they get to use that functionality for free. So let's say, for example, you're Microsoft and you're saving 20 million a year in bank fees. All you have to do is buy $5 million worth of tokens, keep them off the market, hold on to them, and you get free access to this inbuilt functionality. Otherwise, you can pay for it in turn. We're also paying all the staff and tokens, virtually in perpetuity. So there's a lot of alignment. So we want the staff, the performance of the tokens, obviously, to be very tightly aligned with what the staff do. Another one is the standard Binance model, which is you can use it for transactions. Depending on how many you hold, there are various discounts, etc., attached to it. The white paper has a lot more detail, but hopefully that's the summary. So I've run over time again.
That's okay. Thank you. Okay. A big round of applause for David. Thank you. Great. So we are already behind schedule, as every event, right? So we're going to have pitches now, 10 minutes and 3 minutes for Q&A. So 10 minutes pitch and 3 minutes for Q&A. Next up is Nuland. Nuland is an environment and green energy technology from San Marino. Nuland is a project that aims to pent-up demand for augmented connectivity between people and the environment. They already have signed agreements with the World Bank Group and the United Nations. Nuland is working with governments of the Republic of San Marino to shape the country legislation into a sandbox environment for the successful development of this project. Help me welcome Nuland. Round of applause. Yes, thank you. You have 10 minutes?
Yeah, excellent. Go ahead. Hi everyone, and thank you for being here. Good afternoon. Just a small precision, actually, we don't have signed agreements with the World Bank and the United Nations. We have an open collaboration that we're doing together with them. And I'll talk a little bit about this in a second. So, what is Nuland? So Nuland is a digital map. It's a new version of digital map that gives the possibility for anybody to interact with any person, any place, and any object. The interesting part about this is that this interaction is made in such a way as to allow for value to be transferred and for the full power of blockchain to actually be unleashed on the sort of physical realm. So how do we do this? How do we allow for such interconnectivity? So we use a mark. The marks, the Nuland marks are basically, think of it as QR codes that you can apply to any object. You can apply it, onto your phone. You can put it onto a plastic cup if you want, and you can then assign value to this. You can embed information to this, effectively uploading this object onto the blockchain. So imagine a world, for instance, where you get paid to recycle, and also you get paid to help somebody else start recycling. Imagine a world where you can ask for anybody globally. Anybody who's around you, basically, to tell you where there is a free parking spot that you need in the next 60 seconds. So all of these, and many other examples that we'll get into in a bit, are also done with, the constant safety of your data and complete management of all of the personal information. So in essence, we are a crowdsourcing platform, and we are an oracle. And we are an oracle that is fully decentralized and is based not only on digital, but also on human interaction. So what are the marks? So that's an example of a mark. Think of them as stickers. You can get them at Starbucks, you can get them shipped at home, you can print them in your printer, and then you can start to interact with the world around you. Effectively, what this is just a link between digital and physical, right? You can transfer information, you can transfer value, you can, effectively sort of digitize what is physical. So, as Christian pointed out, we are very much, one of the competitive advantages that we believe is among the most important is our very close relationship to the government of the Republic of San Marino. San Marino is a small country located in the center of Italy. What many people don't know, though, is that it is the oldest republic in the world, and it has been a direct democracy.
So who will buy them on the exchange?
So ULTD as a mileage, we have a phase 1, 2. So we actually, you can check the distribution. We will gonna keeping the 20% of tokens to give exchange to players. So we're gonna keeping ULT, and we're gonna exchange to players if they want to play the ULTD to us. So players can sell ULTD to us platform.
So you buy back.
Yeah. And second phase, everybody thinks it will be quite long if just ULTD will be run out. So we're thinking about some portion of the income from the promoting or some commercial. We're gonna by using that money, we're gonna exchange that ULTD to ULT. Yeah.
Okay. We don't have time for any other questions. Sorry.
Last, there is no our name, so maybe you cannot find so.
Number one.
I think Chris, at the beginning of his wonderful keynote presentation, mentioned the word revolution.
Yeah.
So today I'm going to talk about quiet revolution, which had happened in stock trading in late 90s. And I'll talk about why at Tala1 we believe that the magnitude of change in real estate is going to be even greater, and how we position Tala1 platform to actually benefit from this upcoming revolution in real estate. But first, about us, who we are. So we coming from background of investment banking, as Chris said, real estate and technology. So we're very proud to have advisors as Charles Graham. He's a co-founder and ex-CEO of Europa Capital, which is a very large fund in the UK, 10 billion. Mattia Rattaji, he's a former UBS head of regulatory group, and actually he's the chairman of regulatory group and Crypto Valley. Michael Langer, he's ex-partner of JLL, one of the largest real estate consultancies. Roel Wolford, he was director at Visa, director of global transactions. And Steven Ninsko, he's a real estate executive. He used to work for large companies, including HRO Group, world's largest developer, one of the largest developers. Our team, we have experience in investment banking, in real estate, in marketing, and technology. And as Chris mentioned, technological team is based in Moscow. We're based here as a real estate advisor in Zurich, and we have a marketing group in London. So why real estate? If you look at this slide, it's actually quite staggering to realize that the global valuation of global real estate, $200 trillion. And what it means is that if you're starting a business, it's very good when the market is large. Why? Because competition becomes less of an issue, first. And second, the potential is much larger. And real estate universally accepted as a pretty safe investment, long-term. And I'm coming from UK. If you're in UK, 30% of social conversations happen on property ladder. So if you made it to property ladder, then you basically made it in life. But one of the problems with real estate investing is it's hugely capital intensive. So if you have, let's say, 100,000 Swiss francs in your pocket, that's just fees for a typical real estate transaction. Talking about liquidity, an average transaction commercial real estate takes between 3 and 6 months. And if you want to build diversified portfolio in real estate, 1 million, that's just paltry. You need literally a billion Swiss francs to build a truly diversified portfolio in real estate. And in fact, that's the industry which is dominated by real estate funds because of all these issues. And now I'm going to say what that quiet revolution was. Because the situation which I explained to you right now looks very similar to what it used to be in the late 90s. Out of curiosity, who is in this room is an investor? Okay, quite a few of you. Who of you remember 90s investing in stocks? Okay. So back then you need to have like 5 million or so in your pocket, otherwise a broker wouldn't talk to you, right? So, and the whole process was very like old boys club. And then little software companies like E-Trade, Ameritrade, Charles Schwab launched their platforms, and within literally several years, they become multi-billion giants. Several years. And what they gave investors, literally liquidity, low entry ticket, and ability to choose their own investments. The power of choice. And the industry was transformed forever. I used to work for an investment bank. I never believed that they'll make it. But see the results. And the revolution in real estate already started. Look at what happens with crowdfunding platforms. And what crowdfunding platforms are doing in real estate, they're providing an investor with just two things. Lower entry tickets and ability to choose your own investments. But as a result, if you use crowdfunding platforms, you're stuck with a particular investment with 50 or so other co-investors. So there is no liquidity whatsoever. And blockchain resolves that. So in addition to liquidity, low entry tickets, power of choice, it also brings with it global nature of the investment process, low transaction fees. And we firmly believe that utility token industry is going to migrate into security token industry, because that's
doing this as a way so that we can have a smart NAV tracker, where I think the proof of concept is to make sure that the value of the token, the accrete liquidity token, as we're calling it, matches closely with that of the NAV of the underlying assets that we're investing in. So being a pipe fund, it allows us to do that. And at the same time, with respect to the issuer, we're also providing liquidity on demand to token holders at a 3.5% discount, and then at a premium of 3.5% as well. We would also be issuers of tokens as well. And that will be our first initial product that we're bringing to market end of the year. And then subsequent to that, we're basically doing sort of a real estate opportunity zones fund, which is sort of a real estate product investment offer, which is basically geared towards leveraging capital appreciation taxes in the U.S., which is actually one of the other nagging points at sort of tokenization as well, where we're doing this with basically the Moynihan Development Organization and Fortuna Realty. That product is basically going to market in Q1 of 2019. I'll stop there and happy to take your questions.
Now remember how a certain taxi app made travel easier, cheaper and more transparent? Well, Sovereign does the same thing for you to start your investment portfolio. It's all about convenience. On one single app, invest traditionally, in stocks, crypto, whatever you like, commission free. Our AI virtual assistant Zopa is even on hand to help make sense of market trends and to lend you a hand. Blockchain tech keeps Sovereign transparent, secure and fair. Sounds good, but you don't want your money locked in, right? No problem. Sovereign keeps you liquid when you need it most, offering loans linked to your own investment portfolio. If, of course, you need it. We also have mobile pay capability built in, so you can pay for stuff on the app too with your digital wallet. So is your money still sitting in your bank account doing nothing? Download the Sovereign app and start your investment journey today. Sovereign, investment for the mobile generation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Avi. I'm the founder of Sovereign, and thanks for coming down. I think it's going to be a long, hard, warm afternoon, but I hope Sovereign will spark you up. Thank you. Sovereign starts with me. About exactly 20 years back, I started investments and trading journey, stocks, bonds, Forex, whatnot. And as you can imagine, I lost a lot of money. I'm sure there are some people out there, if you raise hand if you lost money doing investments yourself. Fast forward 2018, has the world changed enough? Are there technology platforms out there which resolves the problem? I don't think so. And hence we are building Sovereign, which is basically the innovation for the securities market. Before I go any further, being a UK and EU-based business, I want to put a disclaimer on the screen very quickly for you. So what's the problem? Traditional stock exchanges, trading platforms, they deal with regulated assets. They obviously are not innovative. They have high transaction charges, high fees. They are not suitable for even the Uber generation and people like ourselves. And lastly, very poor access to liquid funds. So you say, oh, what about the crypto exchanges, trading platforms? They're going to help us, right? Really? Complete lack of regulation, money stolen, customer service. I think it just sums up that they do not have the right regulation license, and most important of all, they lack the technology know-how and expertise to launch the securitization of assets. And I think from a blockchain point of view, that's what the market is headed for, and that will make sovereign very special. So you may ask me, how big is the market? What's the future, right? So the current trading market is about $3 trillion, but it's a complete lack of trust and accessibility for institutions and investors. 3 in 5 millennials don't even have trading accounts and leave cash in bank. I think blockchain and securities-based tokenization will change the market. So what's the solution? Sovereign is world first next generation trading platform that combines traditional assets with blockchain-based securities and creates a completely new ecosystem that has never been done before. One of the biggest pain points, would you agree, is blockchain's adoption, right? There's a lot of hype about different protocols and infrastructure, but what about mass adoption? And I think in Sovereign, we understand that from the very beginning. We have focused on the customer adoption first. So our mantra has been trade, pay, borrow, play, which you have heard in the video briefly. With 0% commission, people could actually trade our app on the go, on any asset class. You could use our app as a wallet to pay in crypto or fiat as well. Going one step further, I think the very fact that you could actually take a loan from your existing portfolio and you can spend that, or you can actually use that as a leverage for your further trading, I think that's very cool. That just works for me. And lastly, I think investment should not be just for experts, right? So we have created Zova, which is an emotionally intelligent chatbot, interactive. It gives you sentiments, it acts as a customer service, and you can go and create something very cool. But AI is not everything. We believe the human touch is important. So we have created something called a social trading 2.0. What it really means? In simple terms, you connect with your trusted network of friends and family, your co-workers, you go and create self-managed funds, and basically collaborate and trade together. It's not same as doing a copy trade of a random guy from a well-known investment bank. So to summarize, Sovereign is going to be a regulated platform with fully licensed regulation in UK and Europe. We will tokenize securities to unlock millions of dollars that's currently locked in that cannot be accessed previously. We are going to be working with fintechs across the globe and also with academics so that we continue to build on innovation. So what does the sovereign tokenized securities mean? You could ask me, what's the big deal about that? It just means that anyone, anywhere, anytime, 24/7, could trade from anywhere. We're creating a completely new economy. Assets which earlier could not be made available could be there on a platform that's completely regulated. People like yourself, you've got a nice business, and you think you would like to raise equity and finance, you'll have full control of your equity issuance through smart contracts. And I think that is where the market is going now. How to make money? Well, everyone knows trading platform makes money, but we do it in a slightly different way. We have a freemium model, so we do not charge the newbie trader. They start for free for 0% commission. As you start getting an advanced trader, we obviously charge you fees. And for businesses, they are going to be listing their security token. Obviously, this is charge to pay. And this is a hard one. We have been trying to find out who will be our nearest competition. So obviously, in UK and Europe, we are the one of its kind. But obviously, a few names like T0, Polymath, you may have heard about in the upcoming securities market, who could be our near competition. But as you can see, we are an ecosystem. I think behind every fantastic business is an incredible team. I think I'm very fortunate to have one of those. So my background, I have spent the last 21 years in financial services and banking. I'm ex-Barclays Bank UK Vice President for Digital Banking, one of the top 3 in that area. But previously, I've advised to NASDAQ, Deutsche Bank, Credit Suisse, JP Morgan, quite a few. I've kind of managed team size over 12,000, and as of till date, I've managed funds about 1.5 billion. So that's my background. I've got a background in MBA from India, and then I did my Stanford University management course as well. To complement me, I've got this nice man, Wynand, Wang is my co-founder and CTO. He's a friend first and then a business partner. Transfer on that. There are only one of Sovereign Royal, and you have the ticket size there. You have Sovereign Imperial, only 2 of its kind, and your Sovereign Elite, there's got 5 of its kind. And I'll end with that. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please catch me with my team in the breakout area. Thank you.
Great. So, time for questions. There you go.
How do you plan on giving the dividends?
Yeah, so basically you do your profit and loss like in a business. In UK, tax money comes first, we pay them the tax first, and then we give you 10%, 5% of your dividend on profit shares. If you have witnessed in IPOs or shares, it's exactly the same.
You said it's an ERC 1404, but that's in the draft stage, and it's an IP. How are you going to apply for that?
So we are issuing a soft agreement for now, and once we have done our testing, you should be able to. So when we issue the wallet, you'll have it. But we feel like us and few others, they were in early stages. But for now, for investors, we'll issue them a soft agreement. Any questions?
Anyone else? All right, I guess everybody wants to go to the break.
A big round of applause for Soren. Alright guys, so we're going to take half hour, and you can go back down, or we're going to open up here a patio in the back, so feel free to walk around, stretch a little bit. We'll come back in a bit. Thank you.
Someone owns a fraction of your security, like 0001. Are you going to invite that person? What about voting rights? As soon as that ecosystem has to change, because now you get a letter, you know?
Yeah.
You have one share, you get a letter, you can go vote.
Yeah.
What happens later on? As soon as that system is also not completely on board of that tech, then yours usually not perform.
Really need to kind of publish so we need
brick and mortar.
They understand you
have like the underlying assets like Apple share.
Really?
There are like oil companies and so on. Companies like this, they're raising capital there, and but okay, in order to do this sort of IPO, you need to pay bankers, lawyers. It's like millions and millions of dollars, yeah. And so you don't know how much money you will raise, so it's not really cost effective. So we're actually on the blockchain. We want to tokenize this so-called natural resources. We have expertise in particular in gold fields, gold mining fields, which are not yet developed. Yeah? And
but you are not disclosing we're working never find breakthrough. So there is solution that make us we are running nice.
Are you on Telegram? Yeah, I mean, actually, it's a lot easier to add.
Based on